Welcome to Pray for Micah. And now your host, Micah Chrisman.
Welcome to the Pray for Micah podcast. Today's episode and prayers are sponsored by the Turkey Soup for the Soul Karen Collective International.
Heard about them.
You have?
I don't know if I was willing to give them my money or not. It didn't happen. But.
Yeah, they're worried I'm going to eat their turkeys, and I did. I ate all the turkeys this Thanksgiving.
You cleared the shelf, and you're just like, nah, these are mine now, Karens.
These are mine now, Karens, of the International Turkey Soup for the Soul. Not to be affiliated with Chicken Soup for the Soul.
Yeah, we're not just talking local, internationals. That's a huge collective.
Dude, there's Karens everywhere. There's a Karen in every culture.
Do you have to be named Karen to be in the collective?
No, I mean, I think there's other. It's kind of like, there's a different word for spoon in every language. I think it's just kind of like the essence of the thing. It exists somewhere, of course.
You're right. That was a perfect example. There is a word for spoon in every language. I don't know what they are, but spoons exist.
And those spoons are praying for me too, probably.
Thank you, spoons.
Well, everybody, this is Sean East. Welcome,
Hello,
Sean.
Everybody.
Good old pal, Sean.
Yeah.
He's offered to do a breathing exercise today.
Oh, so
you didn't probably offer
I didn't come
I'm
in ready with one.
I'm offering you to do a breathing exercise so I catch my breath.
I am huge on breathing though. And so are you a fan of Wim Hof?
Tell me more.
Do you know about Wim Hof?
No.
Well, great. We're learning. We're off to the races. We're learning things.
Yes.
I love learning land. But Wim Hof is I've made the mistake of thinking he was Polish in the past. I'm trying to remember. I think he's from the Netherlands. So my buddy Jesse sort of introduced me to him. I have a book that I'm reading right now, but I haven't picked it up as much as I need to. But he just came out with a book. I think it was last year in 2020. Just kind of telling his story. But basically he was just sort of a guy just living as a hobo, and it was pretty normal, or maybe not normal, but it was common in some circles to to live that lifestyle in the Netherlands. And he sort of had an experience with cold water that just kind of set him on a journey for his own personal healing, but also eventually that attracted scientific minds and reporting, and he's become sort of publicly known now as somebody who sort of has done research, is doing research,
really
helps people along. There is so much to breathing, and also cold exposure that can really have just magnificent impacts in your life. So it's pretty wild. I know about him. I partake in some of the breathing exercises, but if you want to do one, I mean, it would pay I think there's one that's sort of the main daily exercise, where it's sort of you're sitting down or you're laying down, and you take 30 to 40 deep breaths is what he says, in through the nose, in through the mouth, whatever. And you do that, and
there was one.
Yeah, that was one.
That was
so
one.
You do 30,
40 of them.
and then you hold your breath for as long as you can hold it, and you do 4 rounds. And you can do however many rounds as you want, but then there's a lot that you even start physically experiencing, different sensations, and it apparently really clears your lymphatic system. You can actually feel your body reacting to this. But yeah, that takes a minute. That takes a while. So we don't have to do it, but we were talking about breathing, so yeah.
Yeah,
I'm into it.
I get winded when I'm setting up cameras and trying to hit record, and so
yeah,
I'm still sweating from it. So yeah, let's do it. Let's not let's not do 30. Let's do. And what is his name?
Wim Hof.
Wim Hof. Not to dishonor Wim Hof's daily practice.
Yeah.
And the longevity. I'm sure if we could do a longer version, do his version, not a longer.
For sure.
Hopefully we can do a shorter version.
Yeah, absolutely.
So maybe we just do a deep inhalation through the nose, out, and do that 10 times.
Yeah, and you can do your nose, you can do your mouth. He honestly, a lot of times observing him it'll go through his mouth. I've actually found myself liking that more because you can get a little bit more oxygen in, and it's just definitely a belly breathing. You want to feel it fill up. So yeah, man,
let's do it. Let's just do let's do 10 of those.
Okay, cool.
Ready?
Yeah.
Let's begin. lost count, but
I think so. And then you do one and hold your breath for as long as you can.
okay, let's do that.
Yeah, and it's a really interesting thought, but like when he does it, he talks a lot about sort of like focusing that breath and like squeezing it into your brainstem, and it's actually something that like is really interesting to sort of like try to like sense like parts of your body that like aren't muscles you normally use, but just like, you know, a lot of things you can actually like control, and like your lungs is one of those that's like voluntary. It's a voluntary muscle. It's like it's the only one I think that's like both. Like, and because I've had lung collapses, like I think this is why like I resonate so much with breathing has like become like just a big part of my story. So
Dude,
I didn't know if we were gonna get into that. That's great.
hey,
I love it.
I brought up that memory that this guy at one point had his lung collapse, and he's doing well though. It doesn't look like you're
a minute ago. Yeah,
I mean, we did some rigorous breathing just then. It seems like your lung capacity is pretty great. I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, it helps with the exercises. Like, there's definitely it's a muscle. It's like everything else. You use it or you lose it. So.
You use it or you lose it.
Yeah.
I feel that so hard. That's why I'm losing a lot right now because I'm not using it.
Are we talking lungs or are we talking just like?
Or talking, yeah, just all of it. You know?
Yeah,
I don't know what
everything. Yeah, man. Let's do. Are we gonna do squats next?
Yeah, this is actually welcome to our health show with Sean and Micah. We're gonna just.
I mean, we did kick it off with like an amazing vegan meal. So like,
yes,
thank you for that. That was incredible.
You're welcome. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Yeah, I've been
cooking,
learning some recipes, and so this is my pride and joy to be able to invite people to my home, feed them, give them food and drink, and then we just have a conversation. And
yeah, where did that desire stem, or where does it stem from for you? Like, I love so much how you just put that out. Like, it's your joy. Yeah.
I was gonna say it's just basically been something ingrained in me as a way of being through my whole life. My parents, my family, my mom was the kind of mother who, if you're coming to her house, you're not going to leave hungry. Like, have you eaten? Here, let me. Oh, I can make some leftovers. Friends would come over for that very reason. Like, there's literally a friend I remember growing up who. Yeah. It's unfortunate. His parents wouldn't. They would like get their paychecks and then they would just spend it all at the boats. He would tell me like they would gamble it all away. And so there was times where I literally just didn't have groceries, and so he would literally come over and we would just. And my mom would be like, I'm fine feeding so-and-so, but also he comes over like 3-4 times a week and eats a lot of our food. I'm like, well, actually, Mom, he told me that this is what's happening. So that's just kind of like, it's both a gift to share to people, but it's also just,
generosity.
I kind of realized that, I like having people over. I already do that. I already have people over regularly who I just cook and feed and have drinks with. And so I'm like, why not throw a microphone in their face and we can record the conversation?
Break their tooth off, like
absolutely
for an hour of your time.
Fuck their tooth.
Here's a dental bill.
They if you come to a podcast episode with me, you're gonna have dental work. No,
that's a promise. Apparently, that's great.
But you also got experience. I guess I didn't really do it tonight as much, but I have my cocktail piano bar. And so that's also my incentive. Like, I can't pay my guests to come and have a conversation with me. So what I have to do is basically entice them with food and alcohol or whatever drink of their choice is. And so,
I mean, I was not being dragged in kicking and screaming. So, and I didn't know there was a piano bar. I didn't know. I mean, you told me you were going to feed me. So very generous of you. Thank you. That's awesome.
Yeah. And it's fun. Yeah. So like, basically I took the family piano that couldn't hold a tune anymore. And it's been a year-long project. We like gutted out the strings.
Did you ever play?
So I took a year of piano when I was a little kid.
Oh, okay.
And honestly, I dabbled in drums at church stuff. I did guitar, bass guitar, and I just kind of stuck it out with guitar more. I don't know. I did some lessons for guitar and just. I mean, it all kind of starts to translate, but I forgot how to read music. And guitar was just more natural for me to just pick up and jam. Yeah. Piano was less so.
Gotcha.
Felt more like I was being taught the rules from the get-go with piano, not like really to improvise. So,
wow.
Yeah.
That's really interesting. Everyone, I feel like the piano has sort of been calling me back, and it's been like a real part of like just how I've been experiencing my own life from like a very observational point of view. But it's really interesting to like to be a musician or even someone who just like messes around, you know, like and yeah, everyone kind of has their instrument. Like I think it's so cool. So that's guitar is yours then. Like
And I won't lie, there was like some element of, you know, it's easier to pick up and try to impress the church girls, you know, with a guitar. I'm not saying drummers aren't hot or piano players aren't hot. It's just you're less likely to go hang out at someone's house and they have a piano and they have a drum. So I was like,
That's
hey,
true.
but I if I play these coffee shop gigs, you know.
Yep, the guitar. I mean, what's the order? I feel like I know bass players always like last, right?
But they're like some of the best ones, you know.
Oh,
yeah.
the best ones to date?
Yeah, the best ones
Oh,
to date,
really?
for sure. Yeah, they're like
Did you date any bass players?
no, but I feel like it's hot when you meet a girl who plays bass, you know.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
I think the
or
thing
a
about
dude. I mean, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
I think most bass players I know are guys, but I know one girl bass player for sure. Yeah.
I just think there's something about the bass player that's like you're not trying to get in the limelight, but you also carry the like rhythm with the drums through the whole thing. And it just becomes the whole crucial thing that people are listening for in music, bass. And
That's so true though. You're right. Everything, I mean, even just the electronic genre, like that's like what people want more of. And it's so funny because it kind of gets overlooked in like
right.
other genres, but it connects everything.
Yes. Yeah, it literally has to sync up with the drum beat. But then, you know, the drummer always looks, you know, big and bad. They get the drum solo. The bass player, like they might get a bass solo, like when they switch around in the concert, but it's just never
It's not that common. You're right.
Yeah, it's like they're such a crucial part of the band that it's just kind of they're overlooked. So I feel like that's the perfect person to date because like they're not egotistical. They're not trying to be out there in the limelight. You know, no, I'm just kidding.
No, there's something to that though. Like they might just be the sort of person that are just like comfortable with themselves. And I also feel like you get to just like play around. Like you get to play, and if you like miss something, like it was just not even a slip of the finger. That was intentional. It was like you're just having fun.
Right.
Like, yeah,
Just,
that's
you know.
great. So
I
this
don't
is where
honestly know.
we have the sponsorship ad of dateyourlocalbassplayer.com.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's a good website. Yeah, have you been there? Yeah. Date
No,
your
I
local bass
haven't.
player.
But
.com.
take my money. I mean,
Just throw a bass player at me. Take your guitar and throw it at my teeth. Crush my teeth with your
I'm
bass
sure the
guitar.
domain name is taken, but actually we should check later.
Yeah, absolutely.
fun.
Hey, future Micah, research Micah. Look that up real quick. I wish one of these days I'll be one of those popular podcasts where I have like the person who sets up all the camera stuff for me. And then
Yeah,
also,
like Roadies.
Hey, yeah, can you just look that up real quick? Oh, hand me the iPad that has the information on it. You know?
Yeah, it's funny. It's like what Rhett and Link turned into on YouTube now.
Really?
Have you stayed up with that at all?
Uh-uh.
What are they called? I don't watch it, but I every now and then, like on the occasional blue moon, that I even like log on or like get on YouTube at all. It's like something Monday is like their YouTube show, but like you remember how they started off, right? Or no?
No.
Oh, you don't
I don't
know,
even know who
Link?
they are.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
cool. Well, you know what? That's fine. We're not talking about them. They don't matter. It's
Okay. They're not like Hof or whatever.
Well, it's just like they have people working behind the scenes, and it's just funny because like they have a channel now where like people work for them, and it's just funny to like have grown up in the 90s, like, you know, when all of the stuff started coming out and people were just like running around shooting stuff, and now it's like you have your own roadies. So
got your roadies. You're my roadie. We're here.
Thanks, man.
We're here doing our roadie biz.
yeah, I've never been to one of your coffee shop shows. Maybe so.
That those stopped when I was around 19,
Okay.
years old. Yeah, those were like early young Micah days where I
Early young Mike.
I don't know why I described it that way, but you know,
I think we're young still.
the earlier versions of me back that direction.
yeah, that's that direction to the left.
Yeah, to the left.
Speaking of which, I saw this poster. What is this timeline of your life?
Bro, yeah. So we talked about this in my episode with Nika. This is like literally a breakdown of just key milestones for the average human.
No way.
So it has, yeah, it's literally, so I should probably actually give credit now that it's come up twice. Like this is a real thing I should actually give them props for.
frame
But it's a YouTube channel I follow, and it's called Kurzgesagt.
That's a lot of K sounds. I don't
So
know
it's
if that's
German.
spelling
It means
Okay.
in a nutshell is the
Oh,
word.
it would be a German word.
Yeah, Kurzgesagt. I think I'm
Kurzgesagt.
still butchering.
It never came up in like 5-6 years of German class for me. So
Yeah, I never
I don't
took
know.
the German words, but all that to say, they do like 8 to 9. Well, sometimes they'll be 15, 16-minute videos that are all like beautifully illustrated, all drawn, like basically cartoon,
Okay.
like moving illustration work. And they'll just do deep dive topics on black holes, all science shit. And
That's
so literally, if you haven't heard of this group, you should go to their channel, Kurzgesagt, on YouTube, whatever it is.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. .com. No, it literally is like, yeah, or maybe .uk, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And then watch the episode Timeline of Your Life. It will change your life. It
Really?
literally is just a beautiful, like, gives you just the whole point of their thing is like, hey, you think we're so special. Look at how small and insignificant you are compared to the universe.
Wow.
But also, here's some science around how humans could become like the next apex, like interstellar species.
iPhone 14.
Like, yeah, iPhone 4. That's the best we could come up with probably before nuclear war comes. But
God.
if we can get beyond that.
Wow, we're going.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah,
I love things that are dark. So I'm there.
where- Well, that's the unfortunate thing about humanity is we've already launched so many nukes over so many decades. The probability that we'll use them on ourselves and self-annihilate is astronomically high.
Is this just like by a roll of the dice? Like this is like we're
This
just
is
talking
just-
pure luck and chance.
We're talking like humans have been around for 300,000 years, and we've developed this technology in such a short time frame. And it
That's
has the probability, like there's like mathematics behind it. So yeah, unfortunately,
Man, yeah.
yeah.
That's wild.
And then with global warming and everything else, but it's neither here nor there. All that to say, if we want to be the species that evolves beyond these flaws,
The human
like-
1.0.
yeah, the human like errors that are going to lead to our downfall, we basically have to learn how to consume less and use technology innovations to basically save our planet, but also travel to the stars. Like that's kind of the whole,
Gotcha. So have you been following this whole like Elon Musk and SpaceX venture?
I both admire the man for what he's achieved and also have to hate him because he's a billionaire, because you just have to hate
Just because
really
he
rich
has
people.
money.
And then the people like him and Jeff Bezos who just literally want to use their billions to build penis rockets to like disappear off our planet. Like I'm like, there's a way to do that's.
I don't think I had seen the photo, so I'm missing out on the full.
Yeah, just look up Jeff Bezos rocket. It literally looks like a penis. I mean, that's what you do when you're a person who makes your whole money off of.
Can we bring in those? I don't know. What do you those engineers? Like that deserves an interview about like why the structure choice. Like
Yeah, like you literally look at it like the top of the rocket is kind of like rounded shape with like a little divot inward and then a cylindrical tube.
I don't know about no dividend word. I don't know about that.
Yeah, it has a divot in, and it has basically picture a mini mushroom going on at the top.
Great, love that.
So
We've come.
that's
a
what
long
these
way.
billionaires are doing, though, and that's what's sad is like eventually we'll just be polluting the stars. We'll just be.
So you think we should be on the path of sort of like intentionally trying to evolve ourselves as much as possible via technology?
I think we should be trying to evolve ourselves and creating sustainable shit here.
Oh, for sure.
Like
Absolutely.
Yeah, space and all that would be great secondary. Like if we come up with the technology to terraform Mars and like create its own atmosphere, like there's probability science that could happen in 100 years or whatever.
Yeah.
That'd be great, but also can we not destroy and pollute this current Earth?
For
And
sure.
Can we have less
For sure.
people?
Yeah, for sure.
Can we just
Can we have less people?
Can we just do less people?
like
Can I get an order of
COVID
less?
hasn't done enough? Like we need a
Okay.
I'm sorry.
No, I don't want people to die. Well, you get what I'm saying.
Well, in my head, I wanted to just reference the Office joke without saying it word for word. So, but yeah, we need another plague.
We need another plague. Just kill all the people. No, I don't know. I love people, but I also have come to realize that people are not the shit that we think we are. We're just like all the rest of the animals on this planet who are trying to exist and have a habitat and consume and multiply.
We do have a conscience, though.
Yeah.
Right.
I think animals do too. It's just we can't communicate with them. Like, I don't know.
Does that upset you sometimes?
When I eat chicken, yeah. Or when I eat turkey.
That we can't communicate?
When I eat the turkey soup for the soul.
Or is that how we communicate with them, by ingesting?
Dude, I don't know. I've kind of come to accept that, like, yeah, from a moralistic standpoint, ideally I would be vegetarian. The problem is when I've done that route, I tend to like put on a lot of weight because my body just like, carbs, let's just put it all everywhere. And so when I have a healthy balance of protein, like, I don't know, like I try to eat less red meat, and I try to
right
that kind of stuff. Truthfully, the whole thing with factory farming and all that's like the main problem with what's decimating whole ecosystems. And if we all ate local, if we all like if you were still local. Right, yeah, if you were eating like cow like meat that was like sold, like at some point, like I have to just accept that I'm a mammal. That like, dude, there's even research. There's research that plants communicate when they've been harmed. They will release pheromones to other plants and saying, "Hey, watch out! Like, I've been fucked up."
That one bothers me. As a vegan, that one bothers me.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, from a moralistic standpoint, if you're trying to get the whole like, your thermostat is a consciousness. It's a very rudimentary consciousness. It inputs what the temperature is in the room, and then it translates to your system. Hey, raise the heat because it's dropped a degree, and we're gonna automate that.
That's very interesting. You're putting it on like on the scale with like right alongside us, right? In a way.
No. I'm saying like there's obviously more complex.
Yeah, but
I would say we're on the higher end of complexity than a thermostat.
But from
a rudimentary aspect, it's kind of like
there are similarities.
Yeah. I'm not saying we should go advocating like save the thermostats, you know? like the thermostats are having a habitat crisis, you know.
Are they though? No.
Maybe.
I never thought about that.
No.
I think that I treated mine fine. I touched it twice a year, so
yeah, it's a good I treat my thermostat great.
Do you have a nest?
Yeah. I have a habitat for thermostats. I do a
love that
thermostat rescue, actually. Like, I have a whole reservation for thermostats.
That's what's down in the basement.
Yeah.
Not all those Legos and those.
They have a consciousness. They exist. No, but my whole point bringing that up is that, like, yeah, like at some point though, for my very existence to proceed, I have to kill things that have to go into my body, and I digest them, and it gets destroyed, and it becomes literally, you know, fecal matter later. There has
to be death for there to be life.
Right. And there's a symbiotic process to the whole thing. I mean, it's the whole Lion King circle of life shit. Like, yeah, I might eat the gazelle, but then I'm going to die and become the grass, and the gazelle are going to eat the grass. Like, so I think the thing that's tough with the day's, culture is, you know, we'll just we'll just not consciously make choices of how, where we source our food. And so then you have these like, big, huge, like multi-football field size warehouses where pigs, like, they're not having a quality of life. Like, I think there's a way to humanely curate and have
dispense the needs that people have, really.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there's a humane way of doing that. I mean,
but why are you why are you vegan? Sorry.
Why am I vegan?
Yeah, is that a health choice?
I still don't fully know. It's just been another journey, like another part of my story that I like, because it just wasn't like a surface level thing for me. It wasn't just sort of like, I need to eat healthier. The science, funny enough, has sort of been coming in later for me through like other avenues, like even my family who just like is not vegan, but like now because I did it, like they got interested on it and started like looking up the stuff for me. So now I'm thinking more about like, what am I eating? Like, what's in my diet? How much protein am I getting, or how much do I really need, depending on like how active I'm being or whatever. But like, it was honestly just more of like a very like slow simmer and a just conscientious, like spiritual choice for me. It felt like just I don't know. I've always loved animals too. Like, I've known that. And so like, I think like it's just part of who I am, like without making it some sort of like really deep philosophical thing. Like it's also just like, and I see it in that way because that's like also how my brain works, and I am a spiritual person, and that's sort of how I like judge and think along the terms of my life. So yeah, man, I don't know. I still don't know why I'm vegan, but I love it. I actually like, I didn't
And
miss
maybe no
meat.
one needs to have a reason, you know?
Yeah,
Just like,
exactly.
like,
Most
you could
people
just-
ask me, and I'm like, I don't really have a reason. Like, it wasn't clear to me. I just like was like inside of me that I should like give it a try, and it aligns with like where I believe, like what I believe to be true, I guess, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah, man. I don't know.
Yeah, my father actually, like, he and my mom have basically had to change their whole diet to become vegan because the doctors were just telling my dad, like, you can either hit the concrete wall going 100 miles an hour, or you can hit the concrete wall going 40 miles an hour.
But the concrete wall is coming.
Yeah, but like they basically, the whole rule is every person should, don't eat anything with a face or a mother.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, like
These are the rules that the doctor gave.
This is what he told my dad. Yeah, like basically
with a face or a mother?
going. Yeah, if you're gonna be vegan, he's like, so like eggs don't have a face, but they have a mother.
Wow.
And so it kind of.
You have a mother. I should definitely not eat.
Yeah, you should not.
And she has a face. So there's, for both reasons.
I mean, that's why. I mean, I technically am on the top of the food chain because I don't. You can't eat me, Sean. Like, I will not let you.
Yeah,
eat
that's
me.
why I skipped straight to your mom. If you didn't notice.
Yeah, so you're gonna eat my mom. Okay. Well, that could be interpreted a couple different ways.
Just a couple, just one or two ways.
Hashtag pray for Micah's mom. Hashtag pray for Micah's mom.
That's great. We didn't really clink
Yeah,
glasses.
cheers, dude.
It only works because there's a little bit of whiskey. This is the last of
Yeah.
the makers. So
Hey,
Thank
we should have just brought the bottle in with us.
we should have.
Yeah.
That's okay. I need to hydrate. I went for a massage yesterday, and yeah, I was really sore today. Like I have not been good about drinking water. Just suck.
Dude.
So, yeah.
Love me some massages. Yeah.
They're good though.
Man,
You do deep
that's
tissue.
my self-care.
Deep
Yeah.
tissue.
Oh yeah.
Don't even.
I mean, I don't
touch
like.
me.
I don't. I have them do it like medium. I don't do like, hey, break my back. Like, I'm like,
If that's a level, I want to ask for that next time. That's good. Yeah.
break my back. No, literally, my brother-in-law. He said he went and got a massage in Russia
Good.
because they're missionaries or whatever in Russia.
In Russia. Okay.
And the woman there, I mean, he said it cost $10. It was the cheapest
US?
massage that
Or Russia.
he.
What's their currency?
Oh, it would be like, yeah, I can't remember how many rubles it is, but it was like
Rubles,
$10
yeah.
American dollars. And he said she left bruises on him. Like that's how like rough she was, like just elbow.
Yeah, that's funny. But also everyone's skin is different. Like even like hickeys. I'm gonna go there. You're like, I don't think I could ever even get one.
Yeah.
I wonder about him then.
Oh, so you're like bruise resistant. You're like
I don't know.
You're like, I could take hickeys for days.
Did
and
I get the
nothing.
upgrade? Like no one else did.
This is the higher evolution I was talking about.
Oh,
It's
man.
the
Wow.
human race.
It's tough. It's tough being the poster boy. I'm not ready for it.
You're not
Nah.
gonna be the hickey
Don't put me in
revolutionary.
the limelight.
Yeah. I don't know. I think self-care in those kind of small ways is important. Like some people think that's extravagant to get a massage or
Yeah.
and I get it. There's like the whole white girl self-care like, but I just, need my latte and I just need a
White girl
Like-
and everyone else, man. Get your massages. Like
yeah, like at the end of the day, whatever
Yeah.
small joys that brings you happiness in life, if you have the time and affordability to do it, like do it,
I think the government should pay for massages for everyone.
Oh man.
You know why? Dude, this is the vehicle that carries you through life.
And how much less stress and anxiety. Yeah, stress
Yeah.
is killing people. Like, yeah, like if you
That's
literally
an
look at the
epidemic.
science, yeah, it's an epidemic. Literally, toxic stress will shorten your life expectancy.
Yeah.
So the more you experience anxiety, job loss, if just compound events of things of stress. And
There's
so,
a
yeah, like,
correlation there. Yeah.
I get that not everybody can get a massage, but
Mm-hmm.
either way, you have to find ways to manage your stress because for sure your stress
Yeah.
will kill you if you don't.
Yeah, it does, and it does slowly. I think, like, and I'm a firm believer too. Haha, firm. See what I did? Deep tissue.
Deep tissue farm.
But I'm just like a firm believer of the fact that like even just your body like is sort of a surface level thing, because I feel like we are spiritual creatures, and it's interesting. But I like the massage is necessary because like you can't deny that this is the thing that like carries you through everything. And so like everything that you experience, even non-physical things, like it finds a place to like live. And something that I've been like just encountering a lot is just like pain and like trauma over time, just like it lands somewhere in your body. And it's just like get your massages, but also like don't ignore the other parts of you too, because like really this is just sort of like dealing with symptoms. It's like you're sick, but like on a molecular cellular level there's something else wrong too. But like at the very least the government can do is just pay for everyone's massages. Like just help us like get the toxins out, man. Like
absolutely.
Yeah.
And then in relation to that, because like you were saying, when you get those massages and it releases all these toxins, you need to hydrate, because that's what they tell you. They give you the water bottle for a reason.
That's how we got on this.
Yeah.
I've been bad about drinking water, so
you gotta drink some water.
This is what I need.
This is actually why I've actually said this to my family. I think the other thing the government should fund, that should be actually a human right just across the board.
Yeah.
I mean, there's other things that take priority over this, obviously. But if I could run government one day and decide everyone should have this thing,
absolutely,
it's a insulated water bottle. Like not just a water bottle.
Everyone should just be given one.
Yeah, like you're born and here's your government issued
name, address, maybe social security number, water bottle.
And insulated water bottle. So it has to be like
insulated.
Yeah, it's the water bottle that stays cold. You know, you put ice in it and it's still cold hours, even a day later sometimes.
Are you in the research of building your own perfect prototype of an insulated bottle, or do you have one on the market you like?
Yeah, I have one on the market already. This is actually the next commercial. The Pray for Micah water bottle in stores everywhere all at once right now.
Let's go.
Dang, we just sold out.
That was fast,
that
man.
Black Friday rush, dude.
Shoot, man, Black Friday on a Thursday?
Oh, Thursday after Black Friday?
God, is there just like a holiday committee? Like, I would love to also just sprinkle in some holidays that like exist for 1 year and go away forever. Like,
I think Christmas should happen in June. Like, I just think like, you know, it's just so quick to have Thanksgiving. I just think some of these should be spaced out more. Like, I just had Halloween. You know, I ate a bunch of candy then. Like, I just think,
right.
Like, why not have a holiday in the middle of the summer? That's why I guess they have the whole Christmas in July. You know,
Christmas
bullshit.
in July. Yeah, does anyone ever celebrate that? I don't know. I've never gotten a gift in July.
No one does.
Never.
Well, I was talking about that, like just the idea of giving gifts. Like we should just give gifts randomly throughout the year and not just like that excites me more. Because otherwise, when you're just like we're looking forward towards Christmas, everyone's just kind of like, all right, I'm going to trade a gift to you.
Yeah.
You'll trade a gift to me. We might as well have just like, all right, here's my present to you. I'm going to keep my $30 and you're going to keep your $30.
That's funny.
But
that would actually work just fine in math terms.
Like, I was joking around with my brother-in-law. We were joking. We were like, my gift to you is you get to keep money for Christmas and pay your taxes in January. Money. Like, why do we do that to ourselves? Why do we have Christmas where we spend an obscene amount of money, go in debt, and then immediately turn around and pay taxes like 2-3 months later, you know?
I think you're right, though. It just becomes a ploy for, like, how sort of capitalism just encroaches on everything. Because it's easy to just fish in a barrel, man.
Yep.
I don't think I really need anything though. Like I think I'm at the point where like I don't think there's like, I mean, it really is just like food, shelter, you know, and like connection. I don't know if that like usually goes on the list, but that's top.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, man.
Just the opportunity to like share with people. Like I think
we should make a holiday that just literally it's a rule, it's a state of law that like it just there can be no tie to money.
Yeah.
Why is that not a thing?
Maybe we make it up, just call it June giving, you know, or something.
Why
like
June?
Well, my birthday's in June, so I'm prejudiced to other months.
So
I am a June supremacist.
So people are biased.
I do think June is the superior month of the year. It's the peak summer month where it's not too hot in Missouri. It's not too cold. It's not spring rain. I was born June 21st.
What's wrong with spring rain? Spring rain's great.
Okay, it's great, but you know, if you want to just talk about peak summer, just try to say.
So you really like peak summer, though.
That's what I loved about being born on June 21st was like, okay, it's the first day of summer. So I get to like celebrate that. Like literally I bring summer,
Whoa,
every year.
I didn't know this about you. I'm sorry. Maybe I never celebrated a birthday with you.
It's okay.
Yeah.
It's all right.
That's crazy.
Obviously, it's not a big deal.
It's not a big deal.
All those years you didn't get me presents.
I turn
every
whatever,
year when I had the guest list for my birthday and I crossed off Shawnee's name and I thought, he's not here.
You're like, I one up every year regardless of who shows up.
Everyone's here but Sean. It's all right. I'm fine about it. No.
June 21st, though.
June 21st, first day of summer. And
cool.
I don't know, as a kid growing up, like that was like, I would just spend a whole day. My parents were impeccable about this every year on the farm. It was just a whole day of being outside. Like my parents, we would get so gross, me and my friends.
Wow.
We weren't allowed. My parents would hose us off outside.
Yeah.
So like what we would do is like my dad would the whole day before like run water out in the pasture, like, and we would make a mudslide. So we would have.
You were a hippie kid. For being homeschool, yeah or no?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. We basically, I tell people we were like camping, living in camping. Like I spent all my days outdoors.
That's amazing.
Most of the time. But yeah, for my birthday, it was just like epic water battles all day outside. It was just we're gonna start off with a mudslide, and then we would do the other epic activity of a shaving cream war. And so we would literally just like have a trough of water. So like when the shaving cream gets in your eyes and it starts burning, like why we didn't just do whipped cream? Yeah. Like why we didn't do something sweeter? No, it was like, I think it's because it's cheaper. It was like, $2 for like Barbasol or whatever.
Barbasol of all things. Wow. So was this like a barrel of just water sitting there? And
We would just like have a shaving cream war where we'd spray shaving cream in our hands and like smash each other.
That's beautiful.
And we would just be covered. And then, but eventually someone gets in your eyes. So then you have to go like, to the water trough.
Oh man.
And then after that to like kind of rinse down from that. So we'd go from like mudslide, so we're covered in mud, to shaving cream war, so we're covered in shaving cream. Mm-hmm. We'd go from that to then having like a squirt gun fight, like an actual. And so we would like buy all these people like little, and we would just have this huge all out battle. I would have like 20 friends at the farm and we would just like, your team 1, team 2, and we just run around, shoot each other with water guns. Like
that's
climb up in trees.
That's what life's about.
Like literally I need to recreate this birthday with all my adult friends, and like no one will be able to like move or be half the energy that we had to do all those activities, but just force them to be fun and gross with each other because it's just fun.
But that's the holiday. That should be the holiday.
June giving. Yeah.
June giving.
Or call it. Yeah, we could just name it after me because I'm already kind of on that egotistical path at this moment.
Great, I love that.
It means I didn't play bass enough.
Egotistical.
It means I played too much.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, you should play more bass.
I should play more bass. I should humble myself. I should play more bass.
No, let the bass teach you. The bass is the teacher.
But yeah, a holiday, and that's what I'm saying. Like for me, like it's more fun, even for my birthday. It's like I'd rather pay for everybody to have an experience. I don't need presents.
Experiences, man.
I kind of grew up just like accepting that.
Yeah.
Friends give you shitty gifts or they don't give you gifts, and that's fine. It's not about.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a firm believer that like my best birthdays are the ones where I basically invite the people I love in my life, and then I like. Half the time I'll make them a meal or I'll treat them to something, and it's nice to receive gifts. So and we have to be willing to receive too. So there's just, but it just, I make it less of a critical thing to happen on my birthday. I'm like, hey, if you don't give me something, actually, I like to give people stuff on my birthday.
What's really cool that I don't think is like a perspective that people like slow down and actually have like make the time for. It's just that like, your time with someone else, like that's a gift.
Yeah.
And like this is a gift for me. You don't need to give me anything. This is great. Like
well, for all the birthdays I missed for you too.
Yeah. That too. Yeah. It's
just a gift for me too. Thanks, Sean.
Yeah, man. Really though, I just I think sort of with COVID just being sort of like what it has been for everyone, like there's too many angles to like look at it and like analyze, but like I mean from like the emotional standpoint perspective of just sort of like being cut off from people, like whether willingly because we're trying to like keep other people safe when we're doing our part, or just for the mere fact that like we're just separated. Like just this like time with people is the gift, man. Like it sucks that like our world is as commercial as it is, and it's Western capitalism, but it's also just like because money is like, I don't know if we're ever just going to get rid of it. You know what I mean? Like, I think there's always going to be money. And I think that's the sad fact. But I think, like, there's a slowing down that happened in the beginning of COVID that, like, I think my heart's just been, like, yearning for, like, ever since. It sucks because, like, I feel like people have been running 1,000,000 miles an hour. And, like, we were talking about this earlier, but just, like, feeling left in the dust. Like, I just been going through it and realizing, like, how... Like, if you're out of sight, you're out of mind. Like, but just like, I don't think that's how we should treat people. Like, everything we do revolves around trying to, like, have a little bit in your pocket. And it's not always gain. It's, like, survival. So it's like, people's relationship to money is all different. But, like, there just needs to be more of this.
Yeah.
Less of everything else. More of this.
Absolutely.
Like.
Yeah, you likened it to Black Friday. Trampling.
I did.
Like that COVID just feels like a time where
it is Black Friday.
People
trampling.
were just they're trying to get ahead. So tell me more about that. Like, how do you feel like how can we be a resistance to that? I mean,
how can we?
I think there's a difference between, like, I guess if we're going to use that as a metaphor, there's a difference between people who are there by their own choice, who are just there to like get a TV, and so are people here in life who are just like, I'm here for my shit, and I'm going to trample you to get my shit.
Yeah.
But then, like what you were just saying, the survival aspect, the system is also rigged that in some ways, for a lot of folks, it's a grocery store. We're rushing in to just get the shit we need. And we still feel like we have to trample on other people.
I know.
To just like get the shit we need.
I know. I think we've all done it to each other. Like, I honestly think that there's probably people that I've like trampled over and like I don't have the slightest clue. I think that really breaks my heart though, because I've just really felt like I just have kept having this word like come into my mind lately for a while now, and I just like feel like trash. Like I feel like something on the side of the road to people. I don't think, and it's not like I'm living like in the gutter, like that's a reality though for some people, and it's just like, just the fact that that's even like a thought that can go through like a normal person's psyche is just like the most heartbreaking thing. Like, there's no gain that's worth winning at the loss or the expense of someone else. Like,
absolutely. I
don't know like what the antidote is. For me, the beginning of COVID was like a window into like what possibly sort of could just be like a tool more than anything. Not necessarily like the answer, but just like a slowing down. It's the toilet paper thing.
Oh yeah,
it's
a toilet paper metaphor, right?
Take what you need.
Well,
nothing more.
And then I guess if you're thinking about the beginning of the pandemic where people were like hoarding it, that's like the whole. That's it's a scarcity mindset. It's, oh man, if I don't buy up all this shit, somebody else will. So I've got to consume as much as I can of this thing.
Clearly, we haven't learned a goddamn thing. I think that was it. Like, in its seriously like most manifested physical form. Maybe it works as a metaphor for this. I think like the Friday like trampling, the Black Friday trampling, the toilet paper thing, the just being on your way to work and just like not noticing, like not thinking about a single person that you pass by. Like I didn't sign up for that. Like, right. Did anyone? Like, I'm not okay with it. I'm not okay with it. Like, if we have smaller circles and if we have less friends that like really know us, that's not a bad thing. We can't help everyone. Like, true equity is just like, that's a real hard journey, like to arrive at that finally. And, I think if that was like our intention, and it should be, to like to consider everyone, like that is absolutely worth going for the ride, to do as much as you can for people and to understand that people are in different circumstances, and to like understand sort of like the variances and the gray areas and be willing to like listen to those. But, you know, just for ourselves in our daily lives, like just less, you know, a smaller circle isn't a bad thing. Just really helping and knowing the people that are in front of you and like helping them see themselves, and being seen by someone else.
Yeah.
I don't think you can really like fully love someone if you don't really know them.
Yeah.
And like how much of like the workplace is sort of just like, tell me where to be and what time. Like that's not even just like my industry, but filmmaking is a lot like that. I mean, and just a lot needs to get done, and it's a team effort. So there's some like really cool things that are really beautiful about it. Like as far as how people can come together to like make something that has meaning. Hopefully. There's a lot of bogus work out there.
Or you make Twilight. You know?
Yeah, exactly. And it works for you and you're sitting pretty. But, you know, like, man, if that's like all I'm doing, what is that? I don't care.
So tell me more about this like experience you're going through of slowing down. What does that look like for you? And even like you were saying that sometimes less relationships is more. Like I hear what you're saying, because like there's a part of us that have had a detachment from culture in like a negative way, and that's why you see this whole uptick of people who are just malicious to fast food workers, to flight attendants. They're like, there's literally research about people who are just being mean and nasty to each other, because it's almost like we've forgotten how to be human with each other anymore. Like we've just had masks, we've had this whole separation, 6 feet apart, and so now that we're kind of getting back to interacting as humans, now people are like, fuck you, give me my burger. And like, you goddamn American, you're the worst. You're the reason why everyone hates like this culture. And yet,
man.
Like in some regards, like some of us, I think, have grown to appreciate and more invest in like deeper relationships with people, because they realize, oh, I'm Micah and I'm one person. I don't have to be in a million areas and be with all the people. Yeah. I can just like spend time with me and myself and my dog and my cat, and I can work on myself and slowing down. And sometimes the American mindset is we have to keep going, keep surrounding ourselves with shit and people, and not being intentional about it. So I guess like it sounds like you've been trying to focus on being more intentional about it. I don't know.
No, well, dude, that's like all I'm doing. That's the only thing I'm doing that I care about right now is trying to just like, do what you, I mean, slowing down, like being connecting. You dismiss yourself when you put yourself at the service of someone else. That's not an excuse not to be serving someone else. That's just a fact. It takes something from you. It's energy that goes out. Right. And it's a gift. It's a gift. Like we should serve other people.
And sometimes that could be rejuvenating for some folks.
Yeah,
like for some folks,
exactly.
like, oh, I need to go volunteer and serve people, and that rejuvenates me. But for other folks, it's like purely like an exhaustion thing. It is. In
that sense, it's like it's a win-win. It's a give because you don't have to get anything back. Like the gift is the fact that you are alive and that you can give to someone else. Just like, I mean, I don't know. I don't remember your question exactly.
Oh, just kind of what your journey's been through the pandemic. I don't know. We were kind of talking about that. Yeah. Just kind of focusing on yourself,
slowing down,
and your work, filming, and how it kind of feels like this take industry, or get ahead of other people.
It can be. There's a lot of self-respect that has sort of had to sort of develop, which, I don't know, maybe there's someone out there and it just comes really naturally to them. For me, that's not the case. That's not my story. Like, I have just sort of like had to learn to, I don't know, just see myself like as being like worthy of like listening to myself, which is the only real person that knows myself. And like other people seem to be bothered by the fact that like you can't always be on call sometimes, you know, for their thing, or, you know, you don't receive all the information for a project, and you hardly ever do. But like even just like a basic expectation for like, what am I trading like my time and energy for, is just like seen. There's just reluctance to that if you are not willing to like say yes to like maybe someone that you know. It's like, really? this is how we treat each other as like a community. Like, but hardly anyone in that space like knows who you are, like in your heart. They just know what you're good for and like what you can accomplish. I just don't want to be known for like my accomplishments. Like, I'm sorry. I just feel like I grew up in a household that was just a very performance driven acceptance and a performance driven love that like has just been like one of the greatest pains of my life. That like, you know, like I want to like see someone else and sit down and like have tea for 2 hours and not be any point to it. It's like why I wanted to get into filmmaking was to sort of like tell stories that mattered, and that's a lot of people. And then you like the rose tinted glasses come off at some point, and you wake up one day and you're part of the machine. And there's like a youthful energy that I had like getting into the business where I just like was like I saw an opportunity to like really see it as a vehicle to sort of like I said, like tell stories that matter. And you pour yourself into it, but it's you give an inch and it takes a mile. And then like when you start having self-respect for yourself, people don't understand that. Yeah. You know, and that's fine.
I can relate to that so hard.
Yeah.
As far as so I don't know if you're an Enneagram person. Are you all about the Enneagram stuff? Are you a 2?
No, I'm a I'm a 4.
Oh yeah.
With
yeah, I see that totally.
Do you really? Yeah, yeah. What are you?
I just feel like that's what everyone does when you bring up the Enneagram. Oh, you're totally a 4. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the instant comeback.
Yeah.
You're not talking about the Enneagram if someone
totally
doesn't say that.
Yeah, let me just ruin the whole thing and degrade it down to the personality test. It's
you're
not.
A number.
Right. You're just this number. Oh, yeah. You're just a whole number. No, the best way I heard someone describe it is that every number, think of it if it was to be associated with a color. It's like if 2, which I am a 2.
Hues. Yeah.
Is,
Infinite
think of all
variety.
the infinite hues you can have
Yeah.
of blue if the blue was associated with 2 or whatever. But
yeah, right.
So as a 2, and I did like a book
the
study
helper?
on it. Yeah, the helper.
Yeah.
So basically, in my healthiest state, I like to be there for people, and I like to be there for things to like support what's going on. Hence why I like to host people. Hence why I like to, volunteer at like Cherith Brook Catholic Worker House, or why I lived there for 2 years, just like, or even in ministry, all the years I was like doing church stuff. Like, I like stacking the chairs. Like in some level, there's a part of me that wants to be a service to people. But the unhealthy 2 does those things to gain like basically love and respect from people. That I'm just like serving this pastor person, and fill in the blank. I've had a lot of different pastors in my life over the years. Wanting to like, get their approval, family, friends, whoever it is. So in my healthy state, I do things out of just like genuine like love. I just want to just do it. I don't expect anything in return. In my unhealthy state, if I'm not getting that feedback loop of thanks, Micah, we really appreciate you, and oh man, you're just like the shit for helping us do this thing. Yeah. Like if I'm not getting that and I go into a spiral, then I realize, like I'm in an unhealthy state. I was expecting this like praise and ambition from the thing.
It's tricky.
But what's crazy when I was doing my research is that there's all sorts of ways you can read into like how you integrate or disintegrate. I can't remember what it's not. It's not those words, but
it'd be disintegrate.
Basically, when I excel and like I'm in a healthy place, I take on the good qualities of the 4. So when I serve out of the goodness of my heart, and I feel fulfilled in myself just by doing the good thing, no one's praising me to do the good thing. Then I tend to be a more acceptance of my own creativity. So then I realize in those healthy places, I'm writing more. I'm not doing this to get people's approval. I'm just doing the thing, But when I am digressing or whatever the phrase is, when I'm like in a negative place where I am trying to seek that approval, then I think it's like I take on the negative qualities of the 8, which
8.
means I need to like control the environment, try to establish like
dominance,
right?
and
Like
expectation,
or I get very like upset and reactionary.
Yeah.
Why don't you? Suddenly I'm the victim. Well, no one listens to me. I'm such a martyr, and everyone should just love me for how much great work I've been doing. And so, I don't know. I guess I resonate with what you were saying with in relation to slowing down and accepting that, hey, the world doesn't need Micah to be there every day to be its savior. The world doesn't fucking need me as a savior.
Yeah.
The world needs me to just love and accept myself and quote unquote save myself. And that can ripple into like maybe other people's lives.
Yeah. Yeah.
If I establish the expectation that the world needs me to save it every day, then that's how you reach burnout.
You couldn't.
Because then you're just, you can't show up to every protest. You can't show up to help out with every meal.
No.
You can't
please everyone. Just
you can't please
in
everyone.
layman's term. But that's real. I'm really happy to hear that like you've sort of been seeing and knowing yourself that way. I think knowing yourself is so important. And it's just so common that again, because like things are expected of us, which probably makes it really hard for it to like, because just the world we live in, just like there's just so much demanded of our time and what is expected for us. Like you can just easily fall into that snare of just like finding sort of your value and like validity for your existence, like in what not you can sort of offer yourself and like what you've been given to offer and to share, but like what other people know that you can do for them. Like, it's
a weird balance. 'Cause then you have folks who are like, okay, my whole existence, I can't be there for other people. So fuck everybody else. It's only about me. I'm just going to trample the other person, get what's mine, get my house, get my extra boat, my extra lake house or whatever it is.
They don't even know they're doing it.
And they just, they just see it as
the saddest part of it all. Yeah.
As my friend Tommy would say, he quotes that movie Belly or whatever. He's just like, get money, get fucking money, get the money, put the money in the bag. And just, you have to watch that movie, but apparently, yeah, just the mindset of get fucking money, just. The world is just dinosaurs that we need to burn up in our fuel engines. Like, burn those dinosaurs. Like, get the money.
That's the whole industry.
Yeah, it's literally... That's what everyone is... That's what they're shown.
It's
like, that's
the
what
one
success
that everyone
is.
Like loses their shit over too.
Dude, and Christians
we
do
needed a
some of the
perfect analogy
worst.
for it.
There's some Christian, like, mega churches that's the whole thing. Like, they won't say it that aggressively. Get the fucking money.
So you've worked in a lot of churches, and that's how you feel, though.
Dude, yeah. There's some churches that are so tied up in the capitalistic system. It's literally like, get all the tithers. Get them all in the building. And we need to keep this thing existing. Okay, yeah. I get that there's a lot of churches who are doing a lot of good things for the community. But when it's just tied to this whole, like, there's literally mega churches and pastors. I mean, watch John Oliver's special on mega churches, and you'll just have your mind blown. Just, dude, people got jets, dude. Pastors got jets. Fucking, there are people starving.
I mean, I didn't know, but like, I'm not surprised. No,
yeah, Joel Osteen. I'm trying to remember. There's a few others, but
God,
they just have. And like they'll get on stage and talk about how Jesus loved the poor and did all this stuff, but behind the scenes are like, I need the fucking jet. I need the money. Give me that money, dude.
Gold plated or
dude, there's another guy. His name's Creflo Dollar. Oh man, dude, and that's what I'm saying. The whole health, wealth, prosperity. It's the whole like God's blessed me, and that's why like, hey,
that's why you have
God's blessed us, y'all. He gave me a jet so I can expand our ministry more, so I can travel easily to spread God's love. Like, if you're like, these are people giving like their grocery money, like they're putting their fucking grocery money in the tithe plate, and the pastor's like, I'm gonna own this mansion over here in Florida, and I'm gonna have a like just the unreal, it's God's blessing on their life, and it's sickening.
Is the last thing in the world that should be tied to money, but like it so is.
Yeah, because Jesus had a yacht,
Yeah.
and
Jesus had a yacht. I don't remember that part. Yeah,
Jesus totally did.
Dope.
Yeah.
But
This
I
whole-
found it interesting though, because you have to be critical of the things you love. But it just like in our talking briefly, you've spent a lot of time like in churches. I feel like, I mean, I grew up in church, but like I feel like you've spent more time because you've even worked for them too, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's interesting though. I mean, not that you can't feel that way, but like it is interesting to like have that sort of be like open and discussed and like to feel like freedom to like.
Right. No, I never worked for a mega church, but
I mean,
after college, I worked for a couple churches. I'll probably have one of the pastors on the show,
yeah.
My whole thing was if I was going to work for a church after college, my main criteria was they have to be LGBTQ open and affirming. Like I was like, I'm not going to work for a church part-time. And that's what these were. They were like contract gigs that I did while living at Cherith Brook.
It paid the bills.
Yeah, they paid the bills.
Yeah.
And they were good community. They were good people. And like every church in this day and age is trying to be anti-racist. So like,
it's a brand.
yeah, we're open, inclusive to Black people. Great. That should have been like a thing 100 years ago.
Don't you think
for the
that,
very
like,
least 40, 50 years now?
This is very interesting. Do you ever like having worked in like however many church or ministries, like do you ever just feel like, I don't know, that like people's like actions just like we just let it speak for ourselves instead of trying to brand everything? Do you ever think about that? Or
yeah, I mean, for me, because I work in marketing and communications in every role I've had after college, and the whole thing is, if what we say we do on paper, it has a wide gap between what we actually do. Like the wider that gap becomes, the more likely I am going to leave.
Interesting.
And so my thing is like, you can say on paper that you're anti-racist.
Yeah.
But if you are basically an all white church and, and I'm not saying like, there's just going to be some churches, dude, in this day and age, people are falling out of churches, and culturally speaking, like white churches can be kind of boring than like your Black churches.
White weddings are the biggest day of your life is the most boring thing.
Yeah. So
You're kidding me.
At the end of the day, like, I'm not holding these churches up to like, man, you need to have like 50-40% Black people at least, or you're like racist. No, I think at the end of the day, like there's some white churches that are like,
Benford's
hey,
Law.
we're going to advocate for our neighborhood association to change its policies, and we want more mixed income housing. And there's some powerful churches who are doing stuff like that, who were in very privileged white neighborhoods in Kansas City that are like, hey, we acknowledge that. Yeah. We want to be anti-racist in our philosophy and power. And what can we do? We can have an influence on the neighborhood association and what's happening here.
Yeah. Yeah.
But at the end of the day, if, I mean, you call a zebra, so, you call a zebra. Like if you say you're LGBTQ affirming and there's no LGBTQ folks in your church, you got to change something. You got to do something different to make it more open and welcoming and inclusive.
I wonder if it's more of and I don't know, like I think people do it because it's really just like people actually do sort of genuinely care about like the thing that they're standing behind, or like so they want it. You need to tell people that you exist, and so it's all marketing. But the whole brand thing for me is like very interesting because it's like, are we by it holding ourselves accountable? Is like that what it is like, or is it sort of just selling? Selling ideas that like we're probably falling short of like anyway. I just wish that like we could just sort of like not say that we're gonna like be affirming or loving or including of like so and so, but like just do it. Like I don't know. Like for me it just kind of get like everything is just like
get
brand.
Money.
Put it in the bag.
Good boy. Put it in the bag.
And it's like, there's just something about like, I don't know, just like, I guess humility. Like, I don't know. I don't really care about like being in existence on like, I mean, I struggle with social media majorly. I think it's like most people that I talk to. So like, that's maybe everyone,
Yeah.
that you cross paths with. Like, how we interact with it is not, we don't even understand it ourselves. Like there's math to it. You can try to like project things and it can be used for good, but it can also be used for a lot of bad in the world too. It's like,
yeah, absolutely.
is it helping us? Is it destroying us? What is branding? What is marketing?
Dude,
is this the brand? This is our brand, like your face. Like someone sees your face, like, oh, I know,
Yeah,
and I'm getting what I spend time with Micah. It's like
my
maybe
brand
you
is my
don't,
beard,
though.
you know, that I shoot.
Yeah. Honestly, I was like, if that's like our own like weird human walking around version of like branding, it's like maybe you don't get what you see, but it's like absolutely worth it to like sit down and get to know. Like, yeah, not you might not get back what you think you're gonna get with someone. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that branding is what we think is our story we're telling to others.
Yeah.
And who we are is genuinely the story that we have to accept that is our true selves. And so, you know, yeah, hands down, like you said, there's research. If you are a young woman on Instagram, you have a less like you have a self-image perception issue, and it could be for men too. I just know that the research that came out recently was like it more significantly impacted young women that based on the perceptions and the branding of women on the platform, it made their own self-image deteriorated.
Wow.
And it's toxic culture. And now people want to do it. They want to go the next level. They want to take a next level into the simulation, which is Mark Zuckerberg's metaverse.
Yeah,
so now we want to simulate human experiences.
Right.
Having myself at a concert across the world with a friend. And I can live by proxy through these things.
Yeah.
I mean, it's Ready Player One. It's all these things that like movies that it's literally just foretelling of what's going to happen. There are going to be people who have such a hard time accepting the true reality, the reality of their own story of who they really are, that they have to project a false narrative, a false story of who they are virtually.
Wow. That's so interesting because I think so much of the branding of social media is that like not only is it helping us connect, that one like we are very well aware of, but like the fact that like it's going to help us like see each other and actually like come together, not just like connect, like be in touch, but like actually like see each other for who we are. But it's like, no, it is kind of a smokescreen.
It kind of is, yeah.
It also isn't to say that like it won't be fun to dip a toe into the metaverse.
Oh, bro, yeah. Like I want to go jump off mountains or fly or do fun games.
No matter
and shit.
who you are, like it's fun to sort of. I mean, we're a product of the times, like, you know, like you're a man of the times in which you live, like whether you want to be or not. I mean, not everyone can be Amish or run away to a monk monastery. I have thought about it, but here I am, like
an Amish monastery. No,
yeah, one of those. Let's mix it up a little bit, y'all.
Yeah, let's mix it up. I'm not a Luddite. I'm not like a anti-technology person. Again, I think like I don't know. It almost feels like we need to get to the level of Dune. Not in the.
I haven't seen it yet.
Well, so the basic premise, from what I understand, like if you watch the movie Dune, you'll notice they have no robots and they have no like they have very minimal computer screens. Like they have literally the universe technology that's like they can time travel.
Bare bones.
Again, the whole
time travel.
It's all a metaphor of like imperialism with like extracting the dust from the people at the planet Arrakis and et cetera, et cetera. But the whole mythos behind the world of Dune is that humans had to have a war with robots and AI and with technology that was basically too powerful for us. And we had to basically create and kill the very creations we created and then decide, okay, now we're going to have like minimal computer interaction. And somehow it's this weird futuristic technology that's like hundreds and thousands of years in the future. So all that to say that
cool.
We're probably already in a simulation. I can't decide one way or the other. This is a great world and reality I'm living in now, and this is great to have you here. You know.
Yeah, yeah.
But for me,
I'm glad you're
if
enjoying
my
it.
kids start living their whole lives with a set of goggles on their face with an intravenous, sleep line or whatever, I'm just gonna be like, do you understand that you're a fucking monkey that's meant to like fuck and have a great time and like romp around in this world?
Climb a tree, man.
Climb a tree, man. Like just go, like, I just tell people like,
kid, yeah.
people joke about like, I don't know, like what is it going to be like when we have kids and we're telling them like, don't take that intravenous weird, psychedelic
we're gonna
fake
sound
drug.
old.
Yeah.
We'll be like, yeah.
I remember the old days when we just smoked blunts. Like, what? Like, come on, kid, just smoke a blunt. What are you doing taking this,
what are you
like,
doing putting the goggles on?
Psychedelic, drops that now the whole day is like this interactive weird shit. Like,
You're pressing buttons like
as like a psychedelic trip or something. I don't know. I'm sure there's going to be some kind of like weird futuristic tripping
it's happening
drugs.
Fast though. Like, I mean, I know we're being like silly, but like it's happening super fast. Like from the Industrial Revolution to now, it's not long. Like it's incredible. Like it's insanely amazing and extremely scary at the same time that like we have what we have. And
What a
it's
time
normal.
to live in, man. Like,
Yeah.
if you are, and I know
what a
that we
time.
have way more shit to work on. I'm not saying racism or sexism or any of that shit isn't solved, but
Yeah.
the fact is, you get a time capsule, you go back, it's just worse.
It just works.
It just gets worse. Like, yeah.
Oh,
you
it
go
gets
back
worse.
Worse.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Like if you are a black person, you try to go back to the Jim Crow 1930s time capsule. Like, no. Like, we've got our shit to work on here, but ultimately we're at the precipice as a humanity with the expansion of technology and the major boom to like use this stuff to save our planet and save ourselves or destroy it.
That's a full circle right there. I feel like we hit on that like very, very briefly at the very beginning.
Yeah. Yep.
Back to this poster, actually.
Back to the timeline of our lives. Our
Timeline of our
timeline
lives.
might be short unless we change our shit up.
That's funny. Yeah. Man,
Well,
that's wild.
I know we've been kind of all over the place. I still feel
Very.
like we haven't talked about you and like
Oh, yeah, we
the
can.
world
I mean,
of your filmmaking.
do you want to?
You want to talk about how we met, how we knew each other?
We go. How many years have we known each other?
We've known each other since college. We both went to University of Central Missouri.
I started going in 2011. You
Uh-huh.
were there already?
No, I came later.
Actually.
I was community college first, and so I came in like 2012, I think.
Okay, so we met that. So it's like we're almost 10 years of knowing each other, which is great.
Wow.
I oftentimes feel like it's not very often where I feel like I come across somebody where I'm just like, oh yeah, I've known you for like over 5 years and you're still in my life. Like not only like, cause I know people who are out there, and like we're on the metaverse connected, but yeah, like to like know someone and still sort of like have an interaction with them like for over 5 years, almost a decade. That's cool. I mean, that's doesn't happen very often with me. It seems like.
Oh man, no, I feel that.
Yeah. But like, so as far as like, yeah, I mean, our story, I mean, I don't know. We connected in college and I think about it all the time, but like, I remember shooting that documentary and that was for like my senior,
that's what I was thinking
about. You were awesome
documentary. Yeah.
That senior year, like, I don't know what it was called, but just like, it was a project that was like sort of the testing, to get through whatever course I was in. I can't remember what they called it for the major. But yeah, I remember doing that, man. And you dropped some real wisdom on me in that interview. That was one of the most magical. That was like one of the best interviews I've had with people. I talked to you, Kelly Klein, Carrie Goffner, and Anthony. You remember Anthony too? I mean, I haven't reached out to that guy in a minute, but like all four of you like said a lot of things and that thing came together really beautifully. And like the whole premise was made, I think in like 48 hours. I was like working on a documentary for something else and I like scrapped it. It just was not working. And then like in the like final day or two, like I shot all that stuff and it was just sort of like, I think that's like definitely been a part of me even going back since to that time is just like trying to get to know somebody. And I think even that's what that was about. It was just like, I called it, Who Are You? And like you talked about some of the stuff that I still think about, like, which is funny. Like,
I remember sharing like something with you that my brother-in-law and I had a conversation about.
yeah.
And this ties right back into the whole timeline of your life. And even though the poster has like specific things of like pregnancy or whatever, like basically to summarize this timeline of your life.
Yeah.
My brother-in-law was talking to me and he was like, Micah, you'll live to be 80 years old at best. The average human lives to be, average male too, is like 75 to 80, somewhere in there.
Wow.
And our whole lives we're go to school and people ask us, do you want to be a firefighter? Do you want to be an astronaut?
Yeah.
It's always about what we're going to do.
It's always attached to your career.
And we're told that, and that's reinforced through all of it. Okay.
Yeah.
You've got to go to college so that you can get a job, so that you can make money, so that you can use money for two things: to buy the things you want, or what's most important after college, and pretty much most of your life, buy the things you need.
I remember that, yeah.
And so you spend a third of your life, 23, 24 years of your life, going to college to make money, to stay alive, to buy the things you need to stay alive. And my brother-in-law said, so Micah, why do you want to be alive?
Oh my God, I remember that.
And that was like, I remember sharing that in the documentary. I'm sharing it now. Like that just was a transformational conversation that for me was beyond just the church. It was beyond my upbringing. It was a real question of my core of who does Micah really want to be? Do I really want to be a Billy Graham pastor, preacher person with a jet? No, I don't want to be that person.
Pass.
Do I really want to love people and like do what's right in this world and like have my needs met? Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so to summarize the timeline of your life,
wow,
you've only got these chapters, 20 to 30 years, 2 to 3 chapters of your whole life of 20 to 30 years. You know?
This is starting to be real scary. Like, it's like staring at me in the face.
Now the timeline of your life
it's like it's encroaching on my...
It'll jump at you in your dreams. It'll kill you if you're not watching it. Woo. I mean, and I've had friends, dude. And like, that's what's crazy. Now I'm 32 years old and since college, I've had friends die. You know, God rest their souls.
I saw your post about Tyler recently. That one hit me.
Oh man. Yeah. I had a friend who took his life this month or a couple months. Oh, it's been about 8 weeks now or less.
Yeah.
And and that was someone who I hadn't talked to for a couple of years. And the reality is that we can't be there for everybody in our lives, but we can try to be there for the people in front of us every day. And sometimes people in our past need someone to reach out to them and just say, hey, we may not be connected anymore. We may not be best pals anymore, but I love you. And if you ever need anything, you can reach out to me.
Yeah. I mean, just in honor of Tyler, I brought it up, but like, I think I remember the last time I spent with him was sort of coming back from, I think we were at Buzzard. And we took like an Uber back to the summit because he lived there. I think you were there that night. I think we were all there together.
Yeah.
And it was by total happenstance. And like, I was thinking about that recently because you were the one who like led me to be aware. And
Yeah, I got to go to his funeral in St. Louis and they just did a beautiful job honoring his life. And
he loved metal.
He loved metal music, man. And that was the one thing that was missing from the funeral. I was like, where was the metal songs? They should have had at least one. No, I mean,
he was a beautiful person, and I was really honored to know him for just a little bit. Yeah. And I'm glad that you shared that. I like wanted to know. Like we hadn't quite hashed out some things, like him and I, like, and I think it really like broke my heart because he was angry at me and I don't know why to this day.
And that's what I've come to accept too. Like I've been to certain family members' funerals and like the people who are closest to, it's not always this like roses and butterflies, like memories of that person. Like you're going to have mixed emotions at people you love and are close to. Like, you want them there. You want them alive. And you don't wish that on them. And yet when they've passed and you have to remember the whole of their life, you're going to inevitably have good and bad memories of that person.
Yeah, you will.
And as much as I love Tyler, like he wasn't always the best friend to me, you know, and wasn't always the best friend to him, and I wasn't always a good, you know, and I think that's just how humans are. We're flawed.
Yeah, we are. Yeah.
And I had to just accept that, you know, it also wasn't my fault that he was in such a dark place that he had to do that choice, make that choice for himself. No. And I wish I could have been there for him, and I wish he was alive now. And yet all I can do, like you're saying, is honor the good memories, honor like
I'm so glad that
love.
Yeah, we got to know him a little bit. I don't know if you were there that night at the CCH, but we had a show there and my band played. You remember that?
I remember that. Yeah.
He was in the front row and on the stage, and he like knew all the words to like all of our songs, and I was like, dude, like this is great. Like,
bro, that guy knew how to throw some bows, man.
I mean, I miss playing metal, but like him and there was another girl at another show like years earlier. We played somewhere in Blue Springs, and like I have you know, definitely favorite memories of like fans, but like Tyler lives on in my memory as like you know, there is the sad parts and the hurtful parts and the things that I didn't quite like understand, but like also there was this guy who loved metal as much as I loved metal, and we just really connected over that, and it was just the most beautiful thing. And I also just remember seeing him with kids, and that was amazing. Like that really warmed my heart. Like he was really good with kids.
Oh man, dude! Like my niece and nephews loved him. They would climb all over him. He was just a jolly giant, you know. That he was so buff too. He would just like have two kids on this side, two kids on the side. He would just be like in Colorado.
Yeah, he probably did that all the time.
And he'd carry a couple on his legs. Like I was just like, man, like you know, my niece and nephews think I'm strong. No, like Tyler body build, so he was like a monster, and he loved hanging out with kids, dude.
What a wonderful guy.
Oh man. Yeah.
It hurts.
God rest his soul.
Yeah.
Put out a couple drops for him.
Yeah. There's just enough there. So. Yeah, and I wanted to take a moment for him because it came up in the podcast. I don't know. That felt right.
Yeah, thanks for doing that. Thanks. And I think it does call attention. Just we think we're going to live a long time and we're going to follow this trajectory of life. Like I'm going to live to 40 and have kids and a family by that point. In my 50s, I'll have my midlife crisis, but I'll resolve it by having a house and a boat. And I'll go back to like loving my kids, and they're the point of my life, and I'll have career goals and blah, 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 blah. And then the reality is we could go tomorrow, and none of that could happen. We make plans, and we think our friends and people are going to be there forever. And the reality is you have to wake up every day and be intentional. And it doesn't mean you have to exhaust yourself. I'm not saying wake up every day like, I might die. I should call my parents. I should call my mom and tell her I love her. Like, no, just like be intentional with like the reality that, hey, you know, I'm alive and I'm breathing. Let me do a breathing exercise and just be present with myself and enjoy that I'm alive right now in this 30-second window, you know?
Your lungs, especially for me, like having like gone through what I have with just like my lung health, like your lungs are like an incredible tool for presence. And that's not like, oh hey, I just figured that out. Like cool. No, that's like I'm learning that, and I'm always like in awe of that. Like, and it is an incredible tool to like be present. And I think being intentional is a slowing down. I think slowing down is an intentionality, and they go hand in hand. And I think that's like, that's like a huge part, you know?
And have we been discussing this whole night? Like, it's a form of resistance to the culture of consume.
Counterculture.
Yeah.
For sure.
Like being present and slowing down and resisting the urge to trample others and just barrel down through life. Yeah. You know?
Yeah, man. Some people probably do have that urge. Like, I mean, I know not everyone's intentional about hurting other people. We do. But, like, God, freaking Black Friday. Like,
yeah.
The trampling is real out here.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Slow down, everybody.
Slow down. Yeah.
Take a breath.
Yeah, absolutely.
Treasure that you're alive right now.
Yeah. I think you even taught me that in that documentary, going back to that. I think it is like, why do you want to be alive? Like, sort of just like that question, but like formed within the context of sort of everything that came before that, about talking about just like how we interact with society and how we see each other and how it's always correlated with like what we do. Mm-hmm. Just so little of like who we are, and we don't like take the time to like know ourselves, and like slowing down is like part of the equation. Like, you have to know yourself to know like your worth and your value and like why you want to be alive. You can't answer that question. Like, you might be able to and say like, well, I want to do this, but then you're just doing, and there's just something super sort of like supernatural really about being and not doing. And like,
yeah, I heard someone say once that set goals for your life so that you could just be like, great, okay, I got that off my list. Now I can actually figure out who I am.
Whoa.
That like, yeah, if you got to set goals for yourself, do it. If you want to be a New York Times bestselling author, great, pursue that. Just so that when you get there and you get beyond that, you'll realize, oh, so that's it. So now I'm back to square one of I need to be here with myself and figure out who I am outside of that thing. Outside of that
that's
desire.
Interesting because like, if you ask people like with money, it's just like it's sort of a drug concept where it just sort of magnifies like who you already are.
Right.
So it's like,
absolutely.
Yeah, having it figured out what you want to do in life, but like knowing that like no matter what happens, whether it works out for you or doesn't, like you're still gonna have to sit down at the end of the day, like, and just like sit with like what's inside of you. You can't get away from like that part. You are something far beyond what you will ever do at your greatest or your lowest point, and you are far something beyond what you are capable of, like in terms of just like productivity. Yes. or anything really. Like it's, I think that takes time to look into. I think that's why it deserves being a counterculture. I think earlier you were saying like, you were asking like, well, how do we do that? And like, I don't really know. I think sort of like realizing, understanding, and you can't force anything on anyone, but like it takes any one person to sort of understand that like that matters, and then you have to do it yourself. Mm-hmm. And then like, what's great about relationships is that like A, we need them, but B, like then you start seeing other parts of yourself sort of mirrored. You start being seen in ways that like your pain hasn't allowed you to like see or reconcile with yourself. And then you start seeing other people, what's really beautiful about them in your eyes that they would never actually consider. And it's just like, wow, man, that takes time, more energy needs to go to that. Like, absolutely. Like, otherwise, what are we doing? Your work, your career, like, I don't know. That's like the exciting thing for people to get out and talk about and share and market. But I'm just like, those are vehicles.
Right.
Those are vehicles.
We actually did this as a church exercise when I was younger.
Yeah.
And it was basically we would go on the street with a camera, and it was a pretty profound exercise. But of course, the end of the exercise is supposed to illustrate that we can't have any identity outside of Jesus,
Yeah.
And, to my family or people listening, yes, I understand that that's your perspective, but also,
yeah,
me, Micah, as an individual is important, and I have to find that outside of Jesus. But for the sake of the exercise we did for people out on the street, we would ask them, hey, tell me who you are without telling me your name or what you do for a living.
That's a really good question.
And people would just, I can't say my name. Well, I work at, and I can't.
No way.
People just, inevitably people have a hell of a time trying to describe, I'm an uncle, I'm an artist, I'm an act, whatever it is, the things that you enjoy or who make up you.
When did you do this experiment?
Oh, this was like 15 years ago, man. I mean, I'm in high school, like I was probably 14 or 15, and we would go out with a camera and ask people. And again, like the whole trip up of the exercise was like, who are you? And like, you'll never know who you are without Jesus, you know?
Oh yeah, there was an answer regardless of what. It wasn't even
Right.
You're not listening to other people when you do that.
Exactly. Unfortunately, that was what we would do, is we would go ask these questions. Not really listening, not for this. It was like, we have the punchline. We already have
Right. The
morals.
punchline was developed ahead of time. I mean,
But
it doesn't
the
dismiss-
exercise of the question is still profound to me. That was,
Yeah, absolutely.
can you ask or answer honestly who you are without telling us your name or
what
you do for a living?
I would love to start using that,
Yeah,
if I may.
you can, please.
Yeah, there's been like variations of it, and I feel like I've tried like my way of working that into conversations with people. It is so hard for people in production to not talk about production. So over it.
Well,
Done.
Sean, tell us who you are without telling us your name or what you do for a living. No.
Without telling me, even as an exercise, just purely experimental, it's actually kind of fun. Let me think. My name. Tell you who I am. Yeah.
Yeah, without having to say your name or what you do for a living. I mean, we know you're a filmmaker. We know you're a creative. And so what is it about you that...
I'm a feeler.
Oh.
I'm someone who moves through spaces and sees how it's sort of incomplete in the way that things could fit together to be sort of functioning at their like most ideal or at like their greatest capacity. And that is both like a blessing and a curse. But that is a large part of like how I view things. Like I enter spaces and I see and I understand like, and I have the desire or vision to sort of like put things together the way that I feel like they belong together. Like I feel like things actually sort of fit, but it's not so like machine like either. I think things can sort of like be abstractly moving through space and still fit together. And so like that's sort of the spiritual side of me. And just like, you know, in my being, like moving through life, like I feel like I desire to see things as I feel like they should be. And it's like awfully painful for me to know that they are not. And I think that's probably largely attached to being an Enneagram 4. Like, not to like put that on my identity, but just like feeling and understanding and actually not being like shy to like, to engage with things that are sort of like dark. Someone once told me, I think it was my partner Maddie, told me that melancholy, like in terms of the Enneagram, melancholy is the happiness of sad. Either she told me or I read that somewhere, and it's like
I love that.
I'm no stranger to like melancholy. I love it, and it's kind of like when we were even talking about like you going to like Tyler's funeral, like and just it's how often people are unable to sort of like hold things that seemingly contradict, but they don't. We are contradicting. Like the more we just reconcile with that, like the more we can accept someone else when they sort of act out of character. Like, well, like we have all these rules for like in this place you can't do this, in that place you can't do that, and like there needs to be like structure, or at least that's like our attempt to sort of like determine system as opposed to chaos, because like we have this deep fear of anarchy. And you know, maybe because we're flawed creatures, like maybe anarchy is inevitable, and so like we feel like we have to build constraints, and like there's such thing as boundaries, and there's healthy boundaries or not healthy boundaries. But like I'm just like someone who just really walks into space and really wants to see it all fit together. I don't think there's anything that necessarily sort of should keep me from actually engaging with other people. There's really no boundaries like between us. I like try to entertain the fact that like everybody's ideas are valid in some sense, even if they're just like awful and incredibly like incredulous or disgusting or like hateful of someone else. Like it's you still can't say that doesn't come from somewhere. Right. Like just to trace that back is what reconciliation is. Like I just don't think you can walk into a space and just put up walls. But it's so sad because I think I've been experiencing so much really within the last 2 years, probably because I've developed more of a self-respect, but just like that there is this mentality of just like, if you don't serve like my purpose, like it's just very easy to sort of cut you off from that. And it's like, I just like disagree with that. I like disagree with that like majorly. I feel like if I'm being cut off, then that's okay too though, because you can waste a lot of energy on trying to like show people that like things are like could fit together when they have no interest in doing so because they're busy running in a different direction.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, I'm no stranger to melancholy and sadness, and I love things that are sort of like dark, and I think that's like a part of the human experience, and we love to celebrate the things that are positive or good, but
Sure.
when people sort of like make that connection to sort of like light sort of representing good and like darkness representing bad,
Right.
I feel like it's a little bit, actually it's one step more literal than what we're looking at as like it's really like being in the light is like exposing even those dark parts of ourselves. That's walking in the light. Like that's, you know what I mean? Like when you judge someone or you make someone or you shut someone down, like make them feel bad for like acting sort of what is not the expectation in the time or place in which you're like inhabiting, like you're actually encouraging them to like to keep that behind closed doors. So you encourage people to walk in darkness. Like, wow. I just like want us to all feel like we can sort of walk in the light with each other, but there's so much fear. Like,
absolutely.
Yeah.
I feel like that resonates a lot with me in thinking about, like I've said this to other folks, that basically the moments where I realize what I hate about somebody else the most is usually something that is a part of me that I hate. And I'm not saying that everybody in their life choices is a reflection of who I am in some level, but you know, I think that for the larger sense, that many times our relationships or interactions with people can be like a mirror to our own egos, and that will project. And sometimes it's healthy to like cut someone off. We were kind of talking about that earlier before we started the episode. I've had friends over the pandemic that I've had to just tell them like, yeah, fuck off. Like we're not going to talk anymore because they're a toxic person to me. And yet I can still grow separate from them by recognizing and like me actually doing the work of like meeting with my therapist and talking about that person and like, hey, you know, I've cut off this friendship, and what is it about this person that I hate so much, or why did I hate, you know, have so much, and like,
why it was sort of even a trigger or painful for you.
And there's a lot of lessons to have that.
It's tough,
but at the same time, there's some people you don't have to give them that power in your life. Like
That's
there's just
true.
some people that they have no capacity to do any self-reflection and internal categorizing or taking internal stock of their choices. And so I know it's the whole like conundrum of people being, let's create an inclusive community, but we can't include the non-inclusive people.
The neo-Nazis.
The neo-Nazis. They're not welcome in but that's antithetical to our inclusive group. But their whole inclusivity is only for people who are excluding others. So therefore, it's a whole like
that's actually quite a strange conundrum. It's interesting,
but it's also just like, don't fucking gaslight me. If you're an asshole, you don't get to come to my circle, okay? And you can go make your circle with assholes out there, but at the end of the day, like I can still in my own circle over here think about what is it that's so appealing about saying fuck it to everybody, and why does that resonate somewhere in me that's like,
I get that,
and I can still make that like life choice and learn that life lesson without having to include that toxicity in my life.
Those are the plants that have learned to sort of adapt a poisonous or a thorny like presence, you know, like to protect themselves. Like, you know, earlier we were just talking about like humans. I think somewhere in the beginning of this whole thing, like
we're just kind of the whole
way
conversation,
back when, you know, the ancient times. But like, definitely, I mean, it's like we're living things. Like we're growing. Like we're like, and then you actually could be like producing fruit. There could be like things that sort of come from you, from your being. And if something is like choking that, and it could be a person like that, it's not only like willing to like let go of that, but like there are threats out there who like just, and because like we're conscious, like it makes that all the more complicated, because like maybe somebody else doesn't even understand they're doing something, or they are doing something intentionally, but they don't understand that it's hurtful, or they're like ignoring the fact that it like might be hurtful to some people, and they're just like, it doesn't matter to them to like sort of weigh the balance and like get to know you and understand like that like discretion is sort of like necessary in life. Like, but like, yeah, you're a growing living thing that could sort of like one day like give birth to something, literally or metaphorically, and that can like give birth to something else in like its life, versus being choked. Like you can't afford to keep yourself in a situation where like you start feeling like your soul is dying.
Right. you can express empathy like, towards a person who has done you harm and say, you know what, but I know that they grew up in a toxic family. I know that they went through this, and sometimes that's what's hard with long-term relationships. We see people's shit. We see their traumas, we see their dirt. And you know, there's some people we can make it through all that and still be best friends or be lovers or whatever it is. Other times it's like, no, I can like have empathy for you and be separate from you at the same time. Yeah, I can hold both things. Like I can have empathy for this person and say, I understand what you've gone through and why you reacted this way, but also the pattern of reacting that way. And then you not seeing your own pattern and recognizing your own shit and healing from your own shit. And me as a friend obviously didn't help you with that. So
they're on their own journey,
guess
man.
what? Yeah.
And that's, you know,
I can only take control of my own actions and do my own healing for myself. No one's going to save Micah Chrisman.
Yeah. Like, yeah. And I was going to bring that back to like the Enneagram 2 example. Like, well, yeah, you couldn't save them either. It works both ways. Like, I mean, it's just, it's fundamental, actually. It's like what you said. It's like you have to actually, it was like your friend or someone who told you, like, know what it is you want to like accomplish in life, because then later, like, whether or not that happens, like you have to like sit with like who like you are and like be. I can't remember how you worded it, but like we're all on the road where it's just a one big highway, and we're just like, we each have like our own like destination that like we feel like we're following, you know, to get to that place. But like, you know, like some people are assholes on the road. Like it's the same thing when you like pass someone in real life, like, you know.
And that's why I think there's powerful messages in faith circles, not just in Christianity, but other, that's like, to do something that's counterintuitive, to love people despite being unlovable, and again, like, but I also have to resist the idea of I have to sacrifice Micah, because that's always what I've been told. Like Jesus sacrificed himself, so Micah needs to always be second guessing or at my own expense to love other people. No, I love people best, and it's always been the truth since the beginning. I can only love people best when I've been loving myself, and like,
absolutely,
if given myself permission to experience love from other people.
Yeah, you have to see friends, that mirrored. Sadly enough, I feel like that's like where families fail, is like if you, and like even the best of families like have like pain and trauma. So it's like, but you have to see yourself mirrored in order to sort of like identify and then like find love for like parts of yourself that are broken, because you just are, because chances are the place you came from wasn't perfect. Like, you know,
that's why I appreciate what you said earlier, that what we define as darkness, what we define as light can have opposite meanings. Like sometimes I have to go through some family shit to really appreciate the whole family structure and the love of my family. Like,
where no oxen are, the crib is clean. Like, right. But then there's no work getting done. Like, I don't know, you know, like,
you gotta have the shit with the, you know, with the oxen. No,
like,
with the babies and the oxen.
It's you're a fur baby dad. I mean, like,
yeah. You can't have a cat without a shitty litter box. You know? You can't have a fun little.
But like, how fucking beautiful is that cat? Like,
yeah. I'll clean up his shit every day.
I know, I probably do. It gets annoying, I'm sure.
Yeah, but I love every time. I'm just like, and he gets all up in there like, what are you doing today? You're cleaning out my litter box? yeah, fuck off, Pumbaa. I'm trying to clean this without you jumping in the litter box again.
Oh, animals are teachers. That's why I don't eat them. But
now we're really full circle.
Yeah, it's like we've hit everything at least twice.
No, I eat my animals. Wait, no, like I love my animals. That's why
I eat my professors. There's probably some really weird, dark horror like film that could be made of that
right.
a large audience would find very interesting.
Well, here we go. We're spitballing now. You're the filmmaker. Well, hey, I know we kind of got to wrap up.
Yeah.
Sean, would you like to tell us where we can find you online, or if you want to share that? If you don't want to, you don't have to. But
home address.
Yeah, please share your zip code and address. Maybe your social security number for people who really want to get to know you.
I'm moving around. I'm getting around these days. So on Instagram, which is like hardly the place where I live, but you can certainly find me there and attempt to reach me. But it's just jcarlos _ DELESTE. That's my username there. So jcarlos Deleste. Yeah.
Nice.
So
that's where you are on Instagram, and
that's where I live. I mean, if I'm going to be online, if I'm going to post stuff, it's likely there. I hardly do the Facebook thing. I have Snapchat downloaded. I really just don't check them frequently, and that's.
Are you interested in people going to your website? No.
I don't really have. I don't have a website.
Oh, I thought.
Yeah,
you did.
I don't.
Oh.
It's too bad we didn't even get to talk about writing, because that's a whole nother thing that I wish came up, but it didn't. But you have a website, right?
Yep,
okay.
But that's probably why I didn't want to talk about it.
That's fair.
I haven't done enough writing.
Well, then I'm glad I didn't ask you. I'm glad I didn't come to all your birthdays.
Yeah, I'm glad you didn't come to my birthdays either. No. So that's like my 2022 goals. So there's some like writing workshops, groups in Kansas City that I've kind of told myself, okay, I'm going to join a group. I'm going to make it a habit, and I'm just going to show up and have accountability. I've just kind of come to accept that. I write when there's spur moments of creativity, and that's fine and good for now, but also for things like going to the gym and finishing a book.
Yeah,
I'm probably better off having like a consistent group of people who just keep me like in that rhythm, because otherwise I fall out of that rhythm.
Oh, you have to. I need to recommend a book to you. We can talk about it more after this, but that's where you can find me, 100%.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Sean, for being here. And thanks for joining me for the Pray for Micah podcast. Be sure to like and subscribe on this channel and follow me on social media. Pray for Micah Pod on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and yes, even TikTok. We'll see you next time.
You are now re-entering the normal world.